Today we're going behind the scenes of what it really takes to become a Top Gun fighter pilot. What is the very first step to becoming a fighter pilot?
You're going to go on this fighter combat instructor course. You're going to learn to be the best. You've got to really want to do it because the road is tough, it is long, and it's going to test you.
Maverick Iceman, who really would be a better pilot?
Oh.
You nearly failed.
Oh yeah, and I was doing really, really well until I flew with a certain instructor and just failed. And it shook me, mate. And if you fail that again, you're out. Pivotal moment. And it was on Australia's Most Wanted, and no one ever knows. No one's ever found out.
Our guest was rejected 3 times before breaking into one of the toughest selection systems in the world and mastered the FA-18 Super Hornet, flying with the US Navy and leading elite crews in the Middle East for over a decade. He reveals the 3 words that stopped him from a flat spin right out of fighter pilot training school. Captain Ben Johnson, welcome to Another World.
Thank you, Chris. Great to be here.
When did you know you wanted to be a fighter?
That's a great and timeless question. Me personally, I've loved flying since I could walk and talk.
So you literally grew up wanting to be a pilot the whole time?
I've loved airplanes, I've loved the military, I've loved history, my whole life.
That's amazing.
My whole life. My bookshelf is full of hundreds
that's amazing.
of aviation books.
That really just says to me that that's just what you're meant to be.
And I can't explain exactly where it came from. I'm fascinated by it. Even going in a Qantas jet nowadays, or a Jetstar Virgin, sitting in the back, mate, being in the air, I love it. I love being in the air.
Yeah. There's one problem though, Ben. You've got to get into flight school first.
You do, yeah.
It was quite hard for you. So tell me.
I went through every emotion over a period of about 3 or 4 years. It was a roller coaster. Gosh, it started at school. So it started at school where I applied to go to ADFA, and I didn't get the marks. I just did not get the marks that I needed, and they flat out said, Ben, I'm really sorry, you haven't met the academic requirements. Please go to university, show that you can work and apply yourself to learning, and we'll reassess you then. So I did that. I went to university, did okay, good enough mark-wise, and then in the application process, I'd broken my nose too many times, I guess, playing rugby.
Because you can't get knocked out, is that right?
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think
that's
so.
right.
So they said, look, there's no way you're going to be able to breathe in an aeroplane. I'm like, what are you talking about, mate? Breathing in an aeroplane.
Deviated septum thing.
Yeah, so I had to go and prove that I could breathe, essentially. And I understand now some of the medical reasons behind it, but I got proof. I'm going to say that was a 6, 9, 12-month period. It was another year at uni. And then I reapplied, same stage in the application process, the medical, and it was, really sorry, you've got asthma. And I said, what are you talking about? I don't have asthma. I said, oh, no. Oh, sorry, it says your father had asthma. But you're going to need to get checked, please, Ben. And I said...
Are you kidding?
Oh, no. I remember very, very vividly. And then so I had to go and prove that I didn't have asthma, which was an easy thing to do. But it puts you back another 6, 9 months. Or young men and women just go, I'm done. I'm out. I'm not doing this.
Right.
And there was a moment there where, a lot goes to my parents for keeping my levels of motivation really, really high and reminding me of how much I wanted this. You forget that at the age of 18 to 20, mate. There's lots of things going on in life, and lots of distractions, and your friends are doing different things. And, I felt like I'd taken a beating and something I wanted forever. And I feel like whenever I put my mind to something in life, I'd sort of achieved it within reason. Mm-hmm. And so that was a real kick, mate. And then accepted. So the journey was long. I was not naturally academic, but if I put my mind to it, it worked really well.
You could do it, yeah.
Good teachers and a good learning environment, and it was doing really well.
Yeah.
So I was doing really well. In 3-unit maths and, the top 1 or 2 classes in most things. Yeah. It was a long journey to get there, and something that as you go through the training system, the operational, upgrade cycle, that you aspire to do. And for me, it's a double-edged sword, but I'm always trying to be the best version of myself I can be. And that was being the best at the time. It was, you're going to go on this fighter combat instructor course. You're going to learn to be the best aviator, the best tactician, the best leader you can possibly be. But look, I think there's a big theme of you work very hard, but you also play hard too. Yeah. So, you work really, 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 really hard. And everything you do at work, it's intense flying in the air.
You need an outlet.
Yeah, it's just... And so we had a lot of great times together with squadron mates in Australia, around the world, and some of them are quite literally my best mates now, and will be forever.
Okay, let it out the bag. Does a uniform help with
Yeah. Most comfortable clothes I've ever worn. I mean, you can walk into a room in a flight suit and it starts a conversation, right?
Yeah.
It absolutely does.
Yeah. It's got authority.
It's got interest.
Credibility, would you say?
Yeah, I think
interest,
so.
Interest.
But yeah, people would assume that you do what you do. But to be honest, mate, as much as I enjoy that side of it, there's a part of me which is humble around that too, and I'm quite introverted in not wanting to project that onto other people.
Because there is that cliche of arrogance with a pilot, right? And I mean this seriously. Is there an element that you need to have that cocky, arrogant sort of thing as a fighter pilot to be the best?
I think it's confidence in yourself, mate. It's not arrogance.
Okay.
And I like to, the analogy of a football team or a high performing group of people in a team, a footy team, is you've got to have confidence, complete confidence in what you do. And those that are arrogant or cocky on the field, they'll make a mistake. Or, they'll go outside what the plan might be. So you've got to be very confident in yourself. And most of the men and women that I've worked with, very confident people. Some of them are very introverted. Some of them, like to get up and speak and get behind a microphone and sing at a bar. But it's not arrogance. It's not thinking you have authority over others. Yeah. It definitely not.
But you do need to be confident.
You must because you're sitting. For most of my career, was sitting in an aircraft by myself.
Yeah,
that's it, by yourself. And for a period of 3 or 4 years, I was with a WISO, so the operators in the back of the aircraft.
Rio?
Yeah, exactly that. But there's no one else.
You've got to be comfortable on your own.
Yeah, I've spoken to myself more than I'd like to remember, mate. Absolutely.
Okay, Maverick Iceman, who really would be a better pilot? No. In action, who would you want? Because he was emotional, fly by the seat. He was disciplined and precise. What would you? It's a serious question.
Yeah, look, you don't see many Mavericks out there. I'll put it that way.
Right,
yeah, you don't.
Yeah. So you want Iceman, really?
Yeah, you stick to a script. You stick to the playbook.
Yeah.
You do need to think outside the box, but the time to think outside the box is not when you're in the air with a $70, $80, $100 million aircraft raging around.
We'll leave that to the movies. Then.
Yeah. But artistic license, absolutely. Yeah. Good parts of both of them, fuse them together, absolutely.
Good parts of both, yeah. My other one for you, so you've got a mediocre pilot in an F-35, okay? You've got a Top Gun, really good pilot in a Super Hornet. So they're different generation fighters, yeah? Who's coming out of that?
It's apples and oranges. They're very different aircraft and very different platforms. You've got a 5th generation, purely dedicated stealth aircraft, some fantastic sensors and capabilities, versus a Super Hornet, really capable platform, but very, very, very different abilities to find and prosecute targets.
Different abilities. Because the battlefield's changed?
Oh, it's evolved, and it hasn't changed overnight, and the capability hasn't changed overnight. And these platforms, you look back, we're in the 5th generation of fighters since the inception. So 100 odd years of flight. We're into the 5th generation. It doesn't happen quickly. Yeah. But they're very different aircraft. And for me, it always comes down to the aircrew. You put a great aviator in an aircraft to get the best out of that platform.
There's a few words you write on top of your room which motivates you. I want to come back to that, yeah. The road to becoming a fighter pilot is long. How long is it?
About 3 years.
Yeah,
3 to 4 years. Once you start officer training, up until graduate as a pilot, it's 2 years, and then you do your conversion to the different types after that.
What is the plane that you started?
Oh, so we all started in the famous CT4. It's a 2-seat piston engine aircraft that is still being used really successfully, and just being upgraded with different modifications. Great platform. Yeah. So the CT4, I learned to fly in Tamworth. So the Country Music Festival.
You weren't in Newcastle, Williamstown?
Oh, eventually, yes. But we started in Tamworth, then went to Perth, then came back to Newcastle and spent a bulk of the career in Newcastle.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, Tamworth. Okay, you're doing your flying. So a bit of country flying.
Country flying, open air, clean air.
The bug smasher.
Clean air.
Hence the bug smasher, is it?
Yeah, clean air. Yep, down low in the bugs, mate. Great
And
aircraft.
you loved it?
Loved it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I do now. It was tough footy back then, mate. Tough footy.
What do you mean?
Oh, learning to fly, mate, was hard work.
So had you flown before then?
A handful of hours.
Yeah.
So,
What, privately you got?
yeah, handful of
Did
hours
that help
privately.
you get in?
Oh, look, I don't think so. I think it helped to articulate to recruiters that I love flying.
Yes.
And I've turned that into something I can say, well, if you love it so much, why haven't you done it? Well, I have done it. And it's not cheap, mate. So flying is not a cheap hobby. And I went in with 8, 9, 10 hours, and then I sat next to a guy, he's like 400 hours of flying. I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to compete with old mate?
Oh, is that right?
So people come in with very different aviation experience.
So that eventual process of getting in, what's it like to eventually get in? Like,
Oh, to be selected, it's hugely rewarding and satisfying, but then you feel like the journey's just beginning.
what's the difference between a Hornet and a Super Hornet?
The size of the Super Hornet's about a third bigger.
Oh, is
can
it?
carry more weapons, more fuel, and more advanced sensors. So the classic or legacy Hornet, Australia first got them in the early 80s. And the Super Hornets we got in 2009-ish, 2010.
Right.
So there's a whole generation of, I have iPhone 1, now I've got iPhone 15.
okay.
So they kind of look the same, but very, very different on the inside.
Right. Do you remember your first time in a Hornet?
So I remember my first mission brief in a Hornet.
Yeah.
I know my instructor very well. I see him all the time still.
Oh,
He's
right.
a really good friend.
Oh, right.
I was his first student on a Hornet, and he was my first instructor on a Hornet.
Okay.
And he got me to solo. And solo is after 4 or 5 flights, I can't remember now, in a Hornet. And I remember that clearly. And I remember it clearly because...
You remember that clearly?
Yeah, because Dad was at the end of the runway taking photos of me.
Going Mach 1, first time?
Oh, I wish I could say I felt something, mate. but it's all relative. You're so high. So the ground rush, it's over the ocean. So it's just these waves right down
You
the
do it
bottom.
over the ocean for a reason?
Yeah, to not create a sonic boom and the shock waves, which can cause damage.
Oh, over the ocean.
Yeah.
What do you mean damage?
So shock waves can damage infrastructure, buildings, and so forth.
Oh,
yeah. So you can't do it over land in Australia. Didn't feel a lot. And the aircraft's designed for it, so it's meant to be smooth.
What is the very first step to becoming a fighter pilot?
It's identifying what it really is you want to do with your life, and going, what is it a passion of mine? And you've got to really want to do it because the road is tough, it is long, and it's going to test you. So it's not for someone to wake up in the morning and go, I feel like being a fighter pilot tomorrow.
Right.
There's got to be that real motivation to get there because thousands of young men and women want to do it every year, and they might pick, 50, 100, whatever the number is that they say.
Because, Ben, you nearly fail.
Oh, yeah.
What happens there?
So, for some context, very early in my training, first 15 missions, we were in Tamworth. There was 35 odd, just guys on my course, and it was this phase, general handling phase. So we're really learning to fly, learning the rules of the air, aircraft systems. It's just a fire hose of information,
Right.
and nearly every mission you've got to do things perfectly, and I didn't understand the aviation environment. I didn't come from that background, so everything's new. Right. And I was doing really, really well until I flew with a certain instructor and just failed. And it shook me, mate. And the opportunity is, if you fail the mission, you get a couple of practices, and then you get to do that again. And if you fail that again, you're out.
Really?
That's it. And we lost, I'm going to say, 13 or 14 people off my course in that very early phase. And it's almost a culling. So you get back to your blocks that night and you see, one of your mates, he's packing his bags.
It's almost a culling.
Almost figuratively, like, I'm out. And then 2 days later, they go through their process and they'd be gone sometimes. So I'm now staring down the barrel of that without that fundamental appreciation of the airborne environment going, what do I need to do here? What am I doing wrong? Do I even know what I'm doing wrong?
Right. Do you remember what the exercise was?
Yeah, I do. It was stalling. So it was how to recover from a stall, and a stall is a very
Is this in that T34 you mentioned?
CT4.
Sorry,
Absolutely,
it's in that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and a stall is in every aircraft you learn to fly. It's how you recover if you get too slow for whatever reason, and you need to recover the aircraft really quickly. It's a nice training exercise to make sure you're flying safely all the time and get yourself out of a hairy situation.
Yep.
It's a very basic exercise that you must be able to do very well. And I just was not doing it the military way, the way they wanted me to do it.
Oh, really?
Just wasn't doing it. And I couldn't really understand what it was. I'm like, was I not putting enough aileron in the recovery? Too much aileron? What was it? And I didn't have enough of the knowledge at the time to work out exactly what it was. And then you've got the stress of people are leaving. It's what I want to do my whole life. Guys are crying. You're like, oh, what is happening here?
Right.
And so dealing with that and trying to work through that was a very pivotal moment.
Looking back on it, what do you think it was? Like, you were under duress as well, right? So you weren't. It probably wasn't as complicated, but because of the other stress, it was.
Oh, I've done it thousands and thousands of times now, and I look at it and go, why would I even be worried about that?
Right. But it's not as simple as that, though.
And that's the empathy you've got to have for students. You know, realizing that there are these pressures on them, and you do want a bit of pressure on them because we're teaching them to be military aviators. And they said, look, just keep being disciplined, keep preparing well, keep listening to your instructor, and keep doing a thing we call chair flying, which is visualizing things to success, jumping in the simulator where you can, or the synthetic devices that were available, and keep practicing. Just keep turning up every day with a positive attitude and trying to, once again, compartmentalize things where it's, this is my next sequence, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to do it.
Is it around this time that you put the signpost on your door? And what was that?
I went through I sort of reset myself and said, look, why am I here? Why am I here? What do I need to do to get through this? And the three things I wrote down have stuck with me forever. It's work hard, give your best, and enjoy it.
Right.
And so I found that in my life, if I've worked hard, and I work hard, and I give my best, and I think they're two different things.
Right.
You can work hard and not give your best, but give my best, but enjoy it. And for me, that's that flow. It's that element of relaxation and going, hey, what an opportunity. What a great thing that I've been looking forward to my whole life. And it goes beyond that. Like, my whole family's supporting you. Your friends are supporting you. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. And that's hard. When you're stressed in anything in life, man, how can I enjoy this? Those three things, I wrote it down on an A4 sheet of paper, big, thick black texter, and I stuck it above the door. And every day I'd walk out of my room at Tamworth, I'd punch that and go. And that stuck with me forever. And I use that everywhere I go in life.
Interesting. I was trying to learn how to ride a horse. It was very foreign to me. Okay. And then I went mustering for days, literally days. I was in the saddle all day. I finally sort of gave up, but I'd been doing it for a lot. And then it was like, oh, okay. It's called getting your seat. Is that what happens as a pilot? Yeah, you find your seat. Is that right?
That's a really good way of looking at it. And we like to say the matrix forms. So, it's like all of a sudden, it all just makes sense. And I think that any new adventure in life, if you're coming in from scratch, it's going to feel like that. It's very foreign. But if you keep persevering and you keep working at it, or you keep doing it, things start to make sense. Yeah. And the airborne environment is the same.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're naturally just flying an aircraft.
Is that right?
And so flying an aircraft is very different to flying a fighter.
When did that happen for you?
It happened, so the first course was Tamworth. I was there for about a year. I was still just repeating what my instructor taught me to do, just copying, and did a really good job of that by the end. But really didn't have the awareness of what was going out on too far outside the cockpit. I go to Perth, and then we learn on a different aircraft there, the PC-9, and that's when it starts to form, the whole environment, the world around me, airspace, air traffic control. And that's a lesson I pass on to a lot of my students is just keep at it. It will form. This matrix will form.
Right.
You will get that confidence with the environment, and it does. It absolutely does. You persevere, you work hard, you stick to what your instructors teach you to do, and you learn from your mistakes openly and honestly. You'll get there.
You're hunting mistakes because you're learning from it. Is that right?
Absolutely. You get down and let's say for every hour of flying you do, you would do 2, maybe 3 hours worth of debriefing, which is sitting on the ground, analysing the footage, the videos, picking it apart like you're watching, an NFL, quarterback watching the play on his iPad in between offense and defense, and just literally going and rarely focusing on the goods. It's like,
right,
this is what happened. The enemy got to the target. Okay, why'd they get there? Well, you let them through. Okay, why'd you let them through? Well, my radar wasn't doing the right thing. Why was your radar not doing the right thing? Oh, I wasn't looking in the right place. But it's little things like when you're training, your circuit, you were 3 knots off, so 5-6 kilometers off airspeed. Okay, why? I wasn't trimmed properly. I was not looking properly. My scan wasn't correct, or I was focused on the radio, or I was busy looking at that aircraft. It's like, well, no, fly the aircraft first. What are your priorities? Right. And so you go over and over and over it, and you've got to have a very thick skin, mate, because it's a couple of hours of just being told what you didn't do well, and then going home quickly that night, that evening, for 3-4 years, however long it was until I became a Hornet pilot. And then after that, it still happened of just reviewing those lessons, quickly adapting them into my next mission, and going from there. Yeah. And for me, mate, it was about not making the same mistake twice. So I would go over what the instructors told me and not want to make the same mistake twice. I'm happy to make a mistake once, mate. It's how I actually learn. It's how I've learned. I've learned that I make mistakes. I've got to put myself out there to learn through mistake. But if I make the same mistake twice, that's when I'm extremely upset at myself, because provided I've got the resources to fix it, I should be able to fix it. And I have been able to fix it. So don't make the same mistake twice.
This might be a bit out of context. I was in Newcastle, and I was driving an old 280 SE Oxblood Mercedes. Beautiful car. Yeah. Just went down the M1 like a bird. Yeah. But there was an old junkyard out Williamstown way. Yeah. And he had all these old Mercedes Benz there, and that's where you'd go to get your parts. So I went out there one day. This is 20 years ago. And the car's fixed and driving back, and I just hear this screaming sound just go straight across the car. But I've got this memory of seeing these 2 jets just flying by. That might have been you.
Oh, it could have been, absolutely. Absolutely. And we loved coming back up and down the coast there.
Can I ask you, how quick between Sydney and Newcastle would you do it?
Oh, gosh, what is that? You could probably do that in 10 minutes, mate, 15 minutes. Yeah.
2 hours in a car.
Yeah. How far? Yeah, probably 10, 15 minutes if you were really going.
I interrupted you. Sorry, you loved the coast?
Oh, yeah. I mean, some of the very... You're so focused on tactical execution and perfection, and when you're out there training and operating to that intensity, sometimes you forget the joy of it. And so to be able to do little things like, I'm flying back to base over this beautiful coastline, and you look out and you'll see some whales or see some sharks, and it's that, to me, they're probably some of the memories I'll keep till I'm 90, 100, hopefully I get there, but they're some of the memories I'll remember.
I was going to say that. What's one of the most vivid ones? Yeah.
Oh, look, it's those moments. Yeah. The training, the air combat stuff. Releasing weapons. It's all there. But I remember moments like that. I also remember air show. So, doing aerobatic stuff in front of your family and your friends. Right. So they're things that stick with me.
Does everyone get to do air show?
No, I was very fortunate, very privileged to be the Super Hornet display pilot for a couple of years.
Just on that.
Yeah.
So I'm on Australia Day. I'm on a yacht. This Hornet comes in right above me. Just went vertical. Just disappeared. Like, I just could not believe it. Because could that have been you? Oh, this is 2010-ish.
Oh, in Sydney? It was. I wasn't in Sydney, so I didn't do that in Sydney.
It's funny how I'm actually asking if it might have been you.
But that were the years I did it. So 2010-ish to, let's say, 2012. But I didn't ever do anything over Sydney Harbour. I was based in Brisbane at the time. And the Super Hornets were in Brisbane.
What would that have been?
No, so we had Super Hornets up in Brisbane and the Legacy Classic Hornets in Newcastle. So if I knew it was you, mate, I would have put a little flare program out for you. Morse code of CT.
Did you do low terrain? Because another memory I have is when I was really young is seeing planes go over, out near Merriwart Way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We did that all the time. So down at 250 feet, you've got...
250 feet.
yeah.
Is it true that people would complain for the horses and stuff?
Yeah, very, very much so, and I understand it. So we had very specific avoid areas plotted on the map and in the aircraft where we were not allowed to fly over them or near them. And if we identify that there was something coming up that might not have been on the map, we don't just fly over it and flog over it. And it's you know how loud it is. It's tremendous, and the animals, the livestock out there, mate, they do not love that.
No, right.
So we would avoid that where we possibly could. Absolutely.
But you have to do a bit of that, though.
Oh yeah. You know,
Have you had any close calls?
thankfully, and touch wood, no.
No.
Look, I've had engine failures, engine issues. I've run into birds.
Have you?
Yeah, I've had weapons that stick
Run
on the
into
aircraft.
birds?
Yeah.
Did it shatter the canopy?
Oh, half the time you don't even notice it. It's just a bit of a blood smear. Just that will pop
Really?
up. Yeah. Happens more than you'd probably appreciate.
What's a strange training exercise? Is there anything off the wall that, I don't know, for reflexes or something that you had to do?
I think one of the stories that sticks with me is the centrifuge. So this is where you practice your high G stuff, and it's on video. You're on camera, and you've got to do your anti-G straining maneuver to try and train yourself for the high G environment. And look, whilst the exercise itself, you get through. I remember coming home that night, and my now wife is like, "What's going on with your legs?" And I had thousands of red dots all over me. My capillaries had all burst, and G measles they call it. So I'm just like thousands of these G measles all over me, and I thought, this is not something you want to do every day.
So that was a bit odd, yeah.
Oh yeah. My body took a couple of days to get over that.
Did they have you on special diets? And how did you keep fit? Was that up to you guys as well?
Yeah, we have.
Would you get tested? Yeah.
Yeah, we have an annual standard,
Okay.
an annual fitness standard, and really that was, in my mind, sort of a minimum requirement. So I would, and part of my balance through pilot training to calm me down, I would run almost every day. I would run 3Ks as fast as I could, almost every day.
Really?
Almost every day.
Oh, wow.
And so that to me, just like, it was a really aggressive.
Did you have to, was it unwind or?
It was a personal thing just to defrag. I would go to
3Ks. How long would that take you?
around about 10 minutes, mate. Sorry, no, take that back. No, not 10 minutes. About 12 minutes, mate. I'd do it in about 12 minutes.
Okay.
Yep.
And you would, pretty hard?
Oh, I did it in 12 minutes. And I would do weights nearly every day of the week. And so some sort of resistance training.
Wow.
And
you wouldn't get sore and stuff? Do you still do that now?
all the time. Yeah. Mate, and that's part of my routine now.
You don't think you need repairing?
Weight training, resistance training, I'm about 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah.
And running and with touch footy and whatnot, it's probably another 3 times a week, mate. But I love exercise. I feel good when I do it. Yeah. And when I don't do it, I notice it. And it's part of that whole balance of my perfect day and how I like to feel, which helps me perform at my best. And going back to what I was just saying about G-forces and staying fit, at one period when I was learning on the Hornet, another great instructor was sitting in my back seat. I was sick for 2 weeks. I'd lost 5 kilos, and I was trying to catch up on course. So I was doing a lot of missions to catch back up, and we're doing a 2v1 air combat maneuvering setup. So we were the good guys. The bad guy was the one. We were the two. I do what we call a brake turn. So brake, 7.5 G. And I just black out completely and lose consciousness. So I wake up and you're sort of shaking. How? Your body's shaking. And my instructor's like, he took control. And we knocked the fight off. And I said, oh, look, I think I G-locked, which is G-induced loss of consciousness. Completely blacked out, mate. Out cold.
So okay, go on.
Then I sort of thought, maybe it was transitory. Let's have another crack, right? So we did it again, and I even quicker blacked out again, and so my instructor took control, and then we decided it's time to come back home. We need to get back on the ground, and you're fine once you come back too. And we learn all about this in aviation medicine, that this could happen. And one of the things was my body. I lost 5 kilos. We have these special suits we wear. I didn't get it refitted. And I was probably pushing too hard to try and catch back up to my course mates. And needless to say, my instructor at the time said, BJ, mate, unfortunately, we're going to have to fail that mission and do it again. I didn't fail a lot, mate, and I knew it was coming. I get it. I get it.
You don't hear of people falling out of the sky. So what do you mean come to? What do you mean? What happens?
So I was very fortunate that I was in a 2-seater Hornet at the time. So
right. So what if you're on your own?
yeah, if you're on your own and you don't regain consciousness in time in the Hornet, you're dead.
But you don't hear of that.
No, because it's not. You train your body through these exercises I was telling you about to be fit. You have the theory behind it through aviation medicine, and you also work yourself up in different training programs to do more and more G. So your body does adapt to it. And a thing for me is whenever I'm sick or have been sick flying again, I always go and get my flight equipment resized and tightened. That's a big factor in it all. And if you're not fit, don't catch up. Don't push yourself to do 2-3 events a day to catch back up. Just accept that you're sick, your body's not right, because when you're up there at 20, 30, 40,000 feet, pulling 7.5 up to 9G in some aircraft, your body's not naturally built for that. So give it a rest.
Pulling a sudden negative 1G.
Oh.
What's that?
Oh, horrible, mate. No one likes negative G, mate. Negative G is no one's friend.
Can you tell me what it is?
Oh, so instead of pulling, you're pushing. And so instead of the blood leaving your head, it goes into your head and there's nowhere for it to go. At least when it goes this way, mate, it's going to the lower parts of your body.
Right.
But going to your head, mate, it's the most uncomfortable feeling. I don't like it. Some of those display aerobatic pilots, the Red Bull pilots, they embrace that. They do it all the time. But very rarely would we do that in the aircraft we would operate in. You just don't need to. If you're doing a dogfight, sure, but it's only momentary. You're not like sitting there for 30, 40, 50 seconds. Yeah, horrible feeling, mate.
How important is aesthetics? Like the design needs to look menacing. Just because, really quickly, I went to an aircraft carrier down at Garden Island there,
Yep.
and I was blown away by I don't know what I was expecting, like a polished Ferrari or something, but like they were quite rugged and like rougher than I thought, right? And they had skull and crossbones and stuff like going back to probably 15, 20 years as well. What my point is, how important is that menacing sort of look mean? Is that important?
You're talking about US Navy, I'm sure. So it's a warrior culture, know, and some of those insignias, some of that, the squadron ethos goes back to World War II in particular, where they were flying off the boats, going up against the Imperial Japanese Navy, and that's where the US Navy really cut their teeth. The US naval air power cut their teeth.
Okay.
So a lot of that there's so much
Pearl
history, and there's so much connected to that. Where I want to go fly for the Jolly Rogers, the Skull and Crossbow, the Sundowners, or whatever it might be. Okay. And there's very famous stories around every one of those units. Fighters in isolation look menacing, right? I mean, they look aggressive, and it's a function of the way they have to be designed to go fast, to go high, to go fast, to carry weapons. So they look tough, they look menacing, not necessarily by design. They need to be pointy, they need to be sharp to go through the air and cut the air.
Interesting.
And, they've got swept back wings versus the
Interesting.
more, so it's all part of the aerodynamic component of it that has formed what we see. And I think there's some part of our brains that associate that naturally with a weapon that's designed to employ guns, bombs, missiles.
Interesting. They do look like Hornets too, don't they?
Oh, they do. I mean, they do.
And you don't want a Hornet in the house, do you?
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Now, between planes, you'd go to a Dodgem car or, go and play Dodgems, there'd be a bit Dodgem that just operated a little bit better. With the Hornets, did you find that you had a favourite Hornet? One of them just was better than the other?
Not one bit. And that's the whole purpose of having a great maintenance facility and structure behind it, and great manufacturers of aircraft too. You have very standardised aircraft. So you jump in one, jump in the other, it's all the same.
It's all the same.
And if they're not the same, you would actually come back and you'd say, my aircraft's unserviceable because of X, Y, Z or A, B, C, to make them as standardised as possible. If something's not working the way they all should work, it's not working. For that exact reason, one day you might be in combat, you get shot down, you eject, aircraft's dead, you get picked up, you go fly the next aircraft.
Yeah.
Or they build another one.
Right,
so the aircraft you can throw away.
It's got to be that way.
Got to be the same.
Right. With the acrobatics, going back, so what was that was a privileged sort of thing.
Yeah. You're doing aerobatic displays in front of tens of thousands of people at an air show, promoting the Air Force, promoting aviation.
Right.
And for me, the privilege there was to be able to do that and to be able to bring that joy to families, to children, to adults with cameras, to my family.
Yeah.
You know, they rarely got to see what you do. So for my family to see that...
Oh, they really got to see it. Yeah.
Oh, no. I mean, you know, it's a fleeting moment. You might see a takeoff and a landing, but to see you do this display was just brilliant. And it's stuff they talk about to this day. And it's not... It's my grandparents, it's my parents, it's my wife. Sadly, my children never got to see it. You know, they were too young.
Right.
But that to me is a joy that I feel very privileged to have been able to do.
So what are we talking about? What were you in there doing?
That was a Super Hornet.
Oh,
yeah, Super Hornet, and you're doing this big acrobatic display at different air shows around Australia.
Yeah.
And that's just a joy, just a privilege.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Could you you see the manoeuvre where they kind of go up and just fall away? Like, were you, you know what I mean? Or is that more the F-35 capacity?
You can do. The Super Hornet's got some great handling capabilities.
Yeah.
Look, the F-22 is beautiful. It's brilliant. It does some things that defy physics.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I'm still blown away when I see it.
Right.
There was actually an emergency situation that happened when I was in the display. The first display I'd ever done in front of my family, and
Emergency situation.
So it was really terrible weather. We're at the Avalon Air Show, and we've got a low show and a high show. The low show is if the weather's bad, we kind of just makes lots of noise down low. It's not really as dynamic. Right. High show is just your normal show. So we're low show. And the maneuver you do after takeoff is you get airborne, your landing gear's still down, you do this nice little barrel roll with the landing gear down. And over the top, you put the landing gear up, and by the time you roll out, the gear is now flush.
Oh, all right.
It's a nice little intro. Yeah. Welcome. Hello, everybody. Here we go.
Yeah.
And so we're doing that, and over the top, deedle, that's the noise the aircraft would make when there's something not quite right. So I'm in the middle of doing this, bad weather, look down, I see there's an engine problem. Ooh. And so priorities, we're going to fly the aircraft first, just come out of the maneuver, level out and have a look at what's going on. And sure enough, it's a land this aircraft as soon as possible. Really? So middle of the air show, we've practiced for this for months, and we go, we've got an emergency. And you immediately just go to your training and go, right, let's fly the aircraft, analyse the situation and take some appropriate action. And so we quickly go, we've got to get this thing on the ground. We go through the checklist, all that sort of stuff. And as we're coming back around to land immediately, there was quite a bit of tailwind. And we had to land on that runway. We literally had to put it on the ground. And so I'll never forget putting it down. We're heavyweight because we hadn't burned off some of the fuel. Oh. So therefore it takes longer to stop. So I'm on the brakes and I'm thinking to myself, this would be terrible if I ran off the runway in front of everybody and my family on the first time they've really ever seen me fly. And sure enough, you pull up in heaps of time, but it's just that moment. I'm like, here we are. And I've gone through all of my rigid work cycle training, discipline, put it on the ground. And then for whatever reason at that moment, I thought that would be a really bad thing. Anyway, all under control. And thankfully, we had some spare aircraft and went and did the show later on that afternoon.
Oh, right. When you say you've got to put this plane down on the ground immediately, what is the actual signal for that?
Oh, so you would quickly get on the radio and say, my call sign, Colt 11, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. I've had an engine problem. I need to land immediately on runway 35 or whatever the runway is.
And what are you getting a like signal? You're getting the noise and a visual symbol?
So you get the aircraft have all fighter aircraft have a very good way of signalling something's wrong.
Right.
So it catches your attention, something's wrong.
Right.
I look down into my systems page and go, that's what's wrong. And then you go to, let's say, the engine page and go, right, that's not right. And we've then got to put that thing on the ground. Yeah. So obviously, if there's fires and whatnot, which thankfully I've never had, you'd see some you'd see some smoke. Finishing my time there, I went to the US Navy, and where I learnt to fly the Super Hornet.
The US Navy, does that mean you were landing on a carrier?
No, I wish I was.
Right.
That's a dedicated course to itself.
Yeah.
No, but what we did have, on the runways you landed on, there was a little painting of the actual size of the carrier landing deck, and they would practice landing on that before they went to the boat. And you're like, gee whiz, that's small. And
right.
and you're like, that's what you got to do. And they do that in and out.
Did you hit it?
I never tried. Yeah, I don't know whether they didn't trust me. No, with practice and training, absolutely.
Yeah.
But no, it just wasn't in our...
Tiny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Compared to what the runways that you're used to, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Talking call sign, how do you get it?
Oh, look, I think Australia do it very, very matey,
Okay.
like Jono, BJ.
What was yours?
BJ. Everyone knows me as BJ.
Oh, they do.
And it's not very original, mate. So Ben Johnson, let's say the US folks I've worked with, they have a ceremony where they'll give people their call signs, and it's usually based on something they've done in their training or when they're new at the squadron. And there are some great names out there. Yeah.
But is that for brevity over the call sign, radios, comms?
No, you don't use your personal call sign on the radio. Oh. You'll have a formation call sign, so that's very dedicated, and that's precisely designed to keep people's identities secret. So you don't want the enemy knowing that BJ's flying, because, look, heaven forbid they might go to that person's house and try and find him.
You mentioned like your grandfather would give you some stories and stuff. Is one of those stories the pressure? Do you know what pressure is? Do you know that story?
No.
I saw a clip with some let's just call it modern. Someone was triggered by something pretty small, and the grandfather's like, pressure. That's not pressure. Pressure's being at 35,000 feet with a Messerschmitt.
No, it didn't. But it was the thrill of flying. It was the thrill of aircraft. And
was he a pilot?
No. Yeah. So he was historically a British expat, I suppose, and was in China, and then the Japanese had moved into China at the time, and then went to Singapore, and then they left Singapore. But tales of that adventure, I guess, is probably a terrible word, but it was a journey that is, in nowadays, you can't even imagine. And then the stories of Spitfires flying over school at the time, and he would make model airplanes. So every time I went to his house in Bronte, I'd go there, and at the age of 5, and I'd sit there and look at the planes, and I must have seen them for decades. I'd just go there and look at them and fascinated by them, and that's where that side of my brain was developed. Just a fascination with it, absolute fascination.
Yeah, absolute fascination.
Absolute fascination.
Is there a plane you wish you could fly?
Oh, I'd love to fly the F-22, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'd love to.
Would you?
Yeah, I'd love to fly that thing. There was an opportunity to do an exchange on the F-22, and I can't remember what happened, but in the end I got the Super Hornet. Very lucky to get the Super Hornet, and very happy with that. Went US Navy, and other colleagues went on to fly the Raptor in Alaska. So we did end up going to Alaska and visiting them when they were there, and we were flying up there in minus 30 degrees. And I've never been colder in my life. I remember a mission where the Canadians said, we're not flying. And when the Canadians said they're not flying, guys and girls that live in minus 30, minus 40, well, I don't think we should be flying either.
It's good to fly in cold air though, isn't it?
Oh, the aircraft love cold air. Yeah, performance is a lot better. Absolutely. But the humans don't love it.
Tell me about the Navy. So you were based you weren't based in the sea.
They've got a lot of bases, on the land. And this base was in Lemoore, in California, in the food belt there. And we lived at a place called Hanford. So Naval Air Station Lemoore, and I'll never forget driving onto the base. And it's like a movie, mate. It's like Transformers. It's just aircraft after aircraft. And I'm thinking to myself, there's more aircraft here than we have in our entire Air Force. And they're all Hornets, and I'm thinking, hey, welcome to America.
They're all
welcome to America.
Yeah, they're all Hornets.
And it's one base. One base.
One base.
Yeah. Amazing. Like it really shifted my paradigm.
What's that like for you? You're in paradise, right?
Shifted my paradigm. I'm just like, big old world out here.
Big old world.
Big old world.
Shifted
And we have a very capable Air Force. Absolutely. We have some great people, great platforms, but we have got a small number of airframes. Like it's a fact. You go over to the States and you are just blown away.
Small number of airframes.
Yep.
Yeah, we'd be like corner of one of their bases.
Yeah. Not even
all of our assets.
Yeah.
There's something in the paper the other day about that's more Navy for our own surveillance, wasn't it? The drones. Did you know about that? Probably irrelevant. Do you know what I mean? Those platforms.
We've got. I think it's the Triton, the new ones you're talking about that have just recently
to link
arrived.
up with the subs. I think.
Look, it's all networked now.
Right.
Modern warfare is all networked, and they've got some great sensors and capability and what we call loiter time, so they can sit out there for forever relative to crewed systems, and have amazing sensors to really draw on everything around them and go, what's out there, and feed it back to everything that wants to listen to it.
So Ben, you after all this practice, you develop like a sixth sense, I imagine, where you're just doing everything unconsciously competent. Yeah, is that right?
Yeah. So flying an aircraft just becomes second nature.
Yeah.
And fighting the aircraft is what you're trained to do. So
second nature.
So it's we're not Formula One drivers, but driving a car versus racing a car. That's what flying a fighter's like. Yeah. So awesome, mate. You can drive a car. That's great. Can you race a car?
Yeah.
You can fly a plane. That's great. Can you fight in a plane?
Yeah.
Totally different.
Totally different. Yeah,
and especially with all of the weapon systems we're trained to learn on. It's air to air, air to ground, so it's shooting things down and destroying targets on the ground. With that multi-role mindset, there's a whole lot of things you've got to be very, very good at. So flying is, that becomes more than second nature.
It's got to become second nature.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it does.
Yeah. And then I suppose once you get to that level, you just want to push the plane to the edge of the envelope, as they say.
Yeah, and we train to do that. So you train to use it to its absolute extremities, and to find out where that is, because that is the difference sometimes in some of these missions. It's you can go faster, you can go higher, faster, you can shoot longer. Your weapons can go further. You can drop more of them at the same time, or your formation can do all of these great things together, which are extremely dynamic, but you're pushing those things all the time. All the time.
You can run, kid, but you can't hide.
That's right.
Shit, there's two of them. I mean,
there's five. I think they got to five, did they?
It's so quotable, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. It's shaped a generation. It's one of the most iconic movies. Yeah. Love aviation or not, it's iconic.
Yeah. And enrollments went up.
Yeah, absolutely.
How are our enrolments these days?
The Chief of Air Force, Chaps, he was my boss at one period of time. He's a great guy. Yes. I've got a lot of time for Chaps. And look, I think he's promoting that enrolments are positive. Keeping aircrew is a challenge. There's a lot of market forces that drive aircrew to take up different opportunities, and trying to keep them in the system is a very important thing for Chaps, no doubt.
Sorry, what's Chaps?
Stephen Chappell, he's Chief of the Air Force.
Okay.
Sorry, I've quickly jumped.
No, I missed it. I think you told me, but I missed it.
Yeah, no, sorry. So Chaps, and so look, keeping. There's a whole range of things that go into recruitment, but it's getting young men and women off the street to want to join a service-related industry where you can go into harm's way more and more. That's something that the recruitment agencies need to focus on, and there's lots of great ads out there. And I know that it goes through ebbs and flows of getting the output they want. But ultimately, I look at the squadrons, they're well crewed at the moment. It goes in cycles. Airlines recruit, people leave.
Is it like an athlete? Like you've got a set amount of time? Is that right?
I think that...
And can I just add a little bit on there?
Yeah.
When do you know it's time to start not racing anymore, not fighting that plane anymore? Yeah,
it's a really good question, and I think it happens at different points for different people. The number one thing I've seen stop people flying fighter aircraft is their body.
Right.
So a lot of really good friends have had serious neck and back problems, vertebrae fused, bulging discs, lifetime care with physios, chiros, etc., because of the toll it has on your body. I've seen a lot of great friends not be able to fly again because of that. So that's number one. Number two, the mind. Look, I've seen fighter pilots in their 50s. Absolutely.
Have you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So if the mind is willing to learn all the time, and every time a new threat comes out, a new aircraft system, you've got to learn. You've got to relearn it. So it's flying, yes, but fighting and integrating into that modern conflict. Right. Am I ready? Am my reflexes where they should be? Is my mind thinking as clearly as it once was?
Right.
And once again, I've seen folks that almost irrelevant of age, it's willingness to learn and adapt is what's really, really important as you become more mature. But different to athletics, you might be in your peak in your late 20s, early 30s. Some cricketers can take it into their 40s.
Oh, so it's different. Yeah. Okay, so it is. Yeah. Yeah, it is different to athletics.
Yep.
Yeah. Would the government still trust you in a Hornet?
I'd like to think they would.
Yeah. Could you fly? Like, do you fly now?
No. But
not would they not trust you, but could you just go and get in a Hornet tomorrow?
Well, I definitely remember how to start the thing and take off and everything.
You've got to stay current though,
You do. And the systems change subtly. Would I feel that I had the level of safety and risk mitigation by just jumping in one tomorrow? Absolutely not.
No.
And we have these things called refresher programs, which appreciate that you've got a lifetime's worth of flying, and it's an abbreviated course to get you up to speed and ready to go.
So you're not done flying?
Oh, I love flying, mate.
Yeah. I love change of tack. 1995.
Yep.
Nick, your brother, disappears. You're 16. I guess I want to ask about in terms of the impact it had on your career and who you are and how you dealt with that. If you don't mind, you go into the room and he's just not there.
Oh, it was Mum that came in. So the story, I remember it clear as anything. Mum came into my room on a Monday morning. It's like, oh, Nick's not in his bed and it's not in his room. And I looked up and I'm like, what? What? Like, sure, he could be anywhere. Why are you talking to me about this? And it's now that I realise that she was doing it because it was so abnormal. It was so abnormal. Right. And then, so we all go into his room. He's not there. And, at the time, I'm thinking he could be outside, could be anywhere. And I remember we lived near UTS in Linfield at the time. And my sister and I then walked down to UTS because we used to go down there and ride bikes and kick the footy and all that sort of stuff, mate. And then I remember saying to Belinda at the time, I'm like, he could be dead. And I said it in almost a jest, right? And I don't know why I bloody said it, and I regret it now because it is insensitive at that time, and insensitive just because it's not a thing to say. And then sure enough, over a period of a few hours, the cops are coming over, they're interviewing us, like what's going on? It's escalated super fast. And my uncle was very high up in the police force at the time, and he's doing his thing to try and understand what might be going on. And they'd found a body. At the rocks in the city. And mate, that's a relative lifetime away from where we lived. And we didn't have cars. We didn't get around like that. We didn't have phones. So how did he get from there to the city? And it was on Australia's Most Wanted, and no one ever knows. No one's ever found out.
So never solved.
Unsolved.
Wow. And he couldn't drive at the time.
Couldn't drive. One of the things that came out in the inquest, there was a car that came to our house that night. The neighbours saw it. They couldn't get a number plate. It's 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever it was. And someone had come to his room, come in or opened the window, and he left. He left in a pair of footy shorts and a jersey and some old shoes.
He left.
He'd got in the car. So we're not sure what drove him to get into the car. I won't forget though, mate, the night before we were watching the movie Fortress with Christopher Lambert, I think. And it's a regret in life where he said to me, can you stay up with me as I was going to bed halfway through the movie? And I was being the big brother thing. I'm like, mate, piss off or whatever. I don't know, jokingly. Right. And I do think it was his way of saying, mate, I need you to stay up with me. Wow. I need you to stay up with me. And it leads me into maybe who I became and who I am now, where, if family want you to do something, or someone asks you for something that's close to you, I listen to that, mate.
Right.
I really do. I listen to it, and I won't dismiss it like I did at the time. And so, go to bed, and then they found him. They found him dead.
You must run thousands and thousands of times. You just don't know. You just don't know.
Don't know. What they found in the inquest, there's a group of kids skylarking on the southern side of the Harbour Bridge, and his body was found to have fallen. So, look, were there other people there? Yes. Do we know who they are? We don't.
You don't know who they are?
No one knows, mate. No one knows. No one knows.
Wow.
And there's a whole series of going through grieving and also the family grieving cycle too. And it all happens at very different times. And to be honest, mate, I don't think I really ever overcame a lot of it until 15 years later, maybe more, where you deal with it at the time, and you go through school, these very, dynamic years in what your body's doing. And then before I knew it, I was in the Air Force, mate, and I'm learning all about this. And really, have I dealt with some of that trauma and grief? Absolutely not, mate.
Right.
Absolutely not.
Right. How do you know that?
I was very mature. I was ignoring some of the...
Blocked it out, sort of thing.
Without question. And wasn't confronting some of those deeper things in my life, and not giving myself the time to. The Air Force is a busy life.
Yes.
Not giving myself the time.
Didn't have the time.
No. And it wasn't until some things happened around me that I realised I'm not the person I was. I remember that boy. I remember that 16-year-old. I remember...
Which what do you mean?
Me. I remember
think your attitude changed?
Oh, I remember a different boy. I think I'd become closed off to listening to myself and...
Is this after the tragedy?
Yeah. Oh, this is 15 years down the track, mate.
Oh, 15 years down the track.
But immediately after the tragedy, you're in such a... it throws you off completely.
Yeah, sorry, go back to 15 years down. Yeah, so you think you were dealing with stuff 15 years later?
Oh, without question, mate.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
And maybe it's not until I had children that I realised that, look, am I the best version of myself I can be? And probably not. And where did it start going away from that? And you go all the way back to there.
Oh, right. Did it change your attitude to anything?
Living in the moment, mate, for sure. So like life can end. Yeah. And I don't think the average 16-year-old doesn't learn that life can actually end. And so it makes you live in the moment and go, well, I'm gonna follow my dream. So maybe it helps with that. I'm going to follow my dream. But there's also elements to that where I'm going to do what I want to do right now. And it becomes a little bit selfish after time, I think.
What? Sorry, what does?
Oh, living in the moment.
Yeah,
like,
okay.
Well, not everyone can live in the moment, mate. But certainly it is about living in the moment. It reminds you and brings you back to those core important themes in life: family, friends, health.
Yeah, okay.
Those things are important, and how do you focus on them?
Okay, so if your family members want something, you do that now.
I wasn't listening. I wasn't listening to some of the things between the lines, and I'll always take time for that.
To who?
To my brother on that night.
Oh, yeah.
No, so I wasn't listening to, mate, can you stop? It was, why did he ask me that? He's never asked me to do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Never asked. All of it was alarm bells now in hindsight to go.
He'd never said that, yeah. So in a way, Ben, do you not have closure in that situation where you just don't have an answer?
No, look, and I've accepted that I will potentially never know.
Yeah.
And I'm at peace with that.
How did you come to peace with that?
That's a good question. I think a lot of it comes down to how the rest of the family are doing. So looking at the way my mum and dad dealt with it, they were so strong. I can only imagine what they were dealing with, trying to still raise two children and dealing with that. And they're young parents, Dad was 20 and Mum was 17 when I was born. So they're young parents. So dealing with that when they are in their 30s and going through that and seeing how they dealt with it to us was inspirational. So it's like, okay, you've got to move on. You've got to move on. And then it's only through, time and trying to work out, am I the best person I can be? And is that blocking me, some of these negative thoughts and feelings I have about it? How do I control what I can control? I can't control what happened, but I can control who I am. Yeah. And, doing that through a series of, self-development things is really important.
Yeah, time's an interesting one, someone told me. Time is a healer and revealer.
It is. Yeah. It is. And but it can also, if you don't use that time wisely, it can be a killer, because you can just dwell in the negative. You can dwell in the sorrow. You can dwell in the sadness. And for me, it's surrounding yourself with people that, and I'm not surrounding myself, but being around people who are positive, inspirational, supportive, I think is who I am.
So Ben, you become an instructor.
I do.
Yeah. Is there a bit of a crossroads, or is that it's not one or the other, is it? Is that right?
No, you can just keep flying. Yeah. And for me, instruction is a pathway I went down in 2009. So being a fighter combat instructor, you learn to instruct. And then going overseas and instructing people from, close to 10, 15 different nationalities as well. You learn so much about who you are as an aviator and really where you fit into the global aviation ecosystem. Yeah. And learning about these great ways to do things from people all over the world makes you better. If
you want to be good at something, teach someone else. Does it make you a better pilot? Yeah.
Without question. Yeah. So you actually have to learn to clearly and succinctly talk about flying and teach someone how to fly.
Do you think it's because you have to make your brain think about it from a different angle? Like, do you think that's why?
Completely. Yeah. Completely. You are focused on not just the flying part, but how do I impart that knowledge to someone who can't see me? They're sitting in the front of an aircraft,
right?
Who speak a different native language.
Right.
So how am I going to do that?
Okay, so you're teaching people. Really? Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of it comes down to the brief. It comes down to the relationships you form, so they understand the tone of your words, the inflection you might use, the key words you use, and it makes you appreciate that every single thing that comes out of your mouth has a meaning. And you cannot
waste words.
Not waste words or use the wrong word.
In the 70s, I think jets were pumping out 58,000 pounds of thrust or something. What are they doing? No, my point is, since you were doing your training to now, the change is just astronomical.
Oh, look, no, jets, I mean, the Super Hornet engine is still the same Super Hornet engine as it is now. F-15 engines, similar types of engines. Super high performance on F-22, F-35, things like that. Yeah, but it's relative, So when you're going, Mach 1, Mach 1.2, Mach 1.4, you're not really feeling it in the air. But they are fantastic. I mean, it's almost the best equipment that humans can produce. It's the leading edge of technology.
Is there more courses being offered now? Do you know what I mean? Like drone piloting?
There's different streams for sure. Yeah. So historically it would be, you graduate, you're going to go fly fast jets, you're going to fly transport aircraft, maritime patrol aircraft. So now you're going to fly fast jets, you're going to fly maritime patrol, you're going to fly airlift, you're going to fly uncrewed systems. You're going to operate the uncrewed systems.
Right.
You're going to be sensor operators. You're going to be cyber. You're going to be space. So there's a whole wide-ranging arc now of the air combat capability.
What is military flying to you?
It's been the best. So military aviators, we've always thought that we're the best of the best. But it is about learning to fly and fight in defense of your country and in defense of the national interests of your country. So that's really what it's about. And ultimately, it's about putting yourself in harm's way to defend those values and the requirements of the government at the time. So that's what military aviation is. And, we're always taught that we're the best. And we're taught we're the best because you've got to go out there and defeat your opponent. Mm. And if you don't defeat your opponent and they're defeating you, it means you're dead. Mm. So that's where that mindset comes in. Mm. But it is about operating those assets, those aircraft, those airframes and those weapons in such a way that you are defending Australia and its national interests.
So as we begin to start to approach for landing, Benji,
Yeah.
there's something about flying a plane home from when it's been away on duty. Like, why is that a special flight?
You're seeing your family, you're seeing your country.
Oh, okay.
You know, and you're safely returning from what you've been doing. So, and that's probably a very subconscious thing, but there's nothing quite like seeing Australian shores. There's not, or hearing Australian voices on the radio. You're home. You're home.
Because you fly a Hornet back from a training trip, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, we used to fly overseas all the time, and coming back to Australia was a wonderful thing. So back from the US,
that's only got limited range, though, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So what's that trip like? Are you getting refueled in the air? Or?
Yeah, you get refueled. You know, all the way back from the States. I think there's 18 refueling. You stop and land along the way to break it up, but I think there's 18 or 20 different air-to-air refueling. We call them brackets, and you just fill up, get back on the wing, fill up, back on the wing.
But how do you? Is the fuel plane going your speed?
No, we're going its speed, so we got to slow down and go with it.
Yeah. So, but how does that work though? Like you'll get ahead, and then
we'll all just go together.
But how does the fuel? Oh, so you'll just hang with the fuel?
We hang with them. We hang out.
Oh, right.
We just hang out.
Right. You can't just scoot off.
No, not in those types of transits. No. But if you're doing a mission and you've got to go and drop your bombs or whatnot, and the tankers will just sit where they're sitting, and you'll go back and get some fuel, and then go back and do what you got to do.
BJ, you're still dangerous.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Hey, Ben Johnson, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. Great to be here, mate.
If you enjoyed this episode, you might enjoy one of these. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much.